TV producer. Welcome to my interview series, Diversity and Inclusion in TV, Radio and Film. The purpose of my interview series is to make more visible the diverse talent behind the scenes in the media industry and get their stories on their experiences and thoughts and ideas on how best to create opportunities for everyone, no matter what background they come from. Well, it's another week, so that means another great guest. So let me introduce her. She's the owner of RA Agency, the first and only female film crewing agency of its kind. Welcome, Lulu Elliott. Hi, Lulu.
Hi there. Thank you so much for inviting me along.
You're very welcome. It's great to have you. So Lulu, tell us, well, I'll share a little bit about your career. You started working as a crew member initially. What was your experience of working on sets in terms of representation?
Well, absolutely. I was the only female working in the camera department, and I was working in more of the live events sector of the industry. So it was corporate, live music, festivals, and yeah, I just felt like I never saw any other female working in my department. I didn't know of any women operating cameras in the industry. When I looked,
how long ago was this, Lulu?
Well, I graduated in 2007. It was over a 2-year period. I identified that was a real lack of representation. And when I looked at other agencies and diary services, there were just no female camera operators listed.
And what was it like, that kind of environment in terms of diversity in terms of people of different heritage?
It was, to be honest, it was all white male. In all the technical departments and production, a lot, yeah.
And do you think things have improved since then, Annie?
Absolutely. We're on the right track. We're on the right road. We've still got a long way to go, but I'm absolutely seeing the changes, of course, you know, on camera and behind camera, which is really exciting to see. There's a lot more dialogue now. There's more schemes and programs. The award ceremonies are leading an example. This all trickles down to crew.
And what do you think, because there's still a deficit of women in technical roles, and there's still most certainly a deficit of people from more diverse heritage in these kind of roles too. What do you think the barriers are that exist for diverse talent accessing and being retained in the media industry?
I think the barriers are coming down. Definitely.
So what do you think are the remaining barriers? So there have been many. If barriers are coming down,
but now there are programs that are targeted for, you know, different underrepresented groups from different social backgrounds, basically training level free programs, because that was one of the main barriers, is you either had to work for free, unpaid, or go to really expensive film school. And people are realizing that gives a limited pool of talent to just look at the film school graduates. So now people are looking more, further afield through different channels. People are finding different ways to come into the industry. And that's being welcomed more. Where before, you know, I would say it was quite snobby.
And so do you think it's getting those decision makers or those recruiters are positively looking or proactively looking at other channels, as you mentioned, but looking at those from, say, perhaps more challenged socioeconomic backgrounds, or those from, say, you know, Asian communities, Black communities, and so on?
Absolutely. I do see other organisations with skill set being one of them, WFTV, Four Corners do training that specifically for residents of Tower Hamlets, you know, they're kind of targeting certain areas. Now I hear of programs and schemes happening outside of London as well. So we're looking more regionally, you know, places like Birmingham and Manchester, the industry is growing there. There's a talent there. There's definitely, I can't just list all the different programs off the top of my head, but I know there is a boom coming for the industry. There's these big studios being built all over the country. We are going to have a skills shortage. We have to change how we find potential talent.
It's interesting what you're saying. You're saying there's a boom coming because the regions are building more studios. There's more openings. So
yeah.
Even with the backdrop of the pandemic, are you optimistic about this?
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic has been obviously, really hard for a lot of freelancers. On the flip side, one of the, positives, if I can say, is it's given time for the key game changers and people who could take more responsibility, take time, take a step back and think about their crewing processes. And with some leading guilds, like the Guild of British Cinematographers, and there's a organisation called Women Behind the Camera and Illuminatrix for female cinematographers. They've all been holding panel discussions about diversity, and that's really down because we could do these Zooms and have hundreds of people watch these panel discussions because everyone was at home. So there has been an opportunity for more dialogue and for it to really sink in. So when the industry is slowly getting back to its feet, which it is, and it's getting busier and busier, people have actually taken some time to put those thoughts into action now. So it's quite an exciting time.
Well, yeah, I mean, we certainly look forward to, I don't know about post-COVID because that's going to be a long while to come yet, but slowly transitioning out of that, but also to see along with that a transition not just from dialogue but as into action, as you say, as well. So I'll be keeping a keen eye out on that too, and staying in touch with all my contacts like your good self to bring people up to date with what's happening in the industry. So now I just want to talk to you about mid-level careers. So this is all entry level that we're talking about. So at mid-level, there's been quite a lot of discussion from those from diverse backgrounds saying they get to a certain level in their careers and then they hit a plateau. They don't feel that the support is there to lift them up to the next rung of the career ladder. So what can be done about that? Because that seems to be a real definite problem.
Yeah, I mean, one of the areas that I identified, obviously I run this agency just solo. So there's one of me and I take care of the whole running of the business and looking after a dozen clients. But I did feel that these diversity, ambitions were met with ticking their boxes, so to speak, with the lowest level of roles like trainees and assistants, and then when you go higher up to more senior roles and better pay, or even if you look at projects that start climbing in budget, you see how the representation falls off. So me personally, I took a year and really felt like I was going to focus on female camera operators. I wanted to see.
Forgive my interruption, Lulu. Yeah. Before we talk about your agency, which I'm definitely interested to share with everybody tuning in today. What do you think the barriers are? Because you've identified this and you're not alone in this. A lot of my guests who have contributed to my series have mentioned this as well, and obstacles they've come up. They reach that plateau. What do you think, what is it at that level, mid-level careers for people from diverse background, which isn't allowing them to move up? What do you think that it's in the way? What are the constraints?
I think it's being freelance. I don't think it's been monitored. I think it's difficult to monitor the data, so then no one can have concrete statistics. And then I think there's just a lot of freedom for people to be picky and who they choose to bring up onto the step up the next level. It's down to the person in front of you, and they're just not reaching back.
And not only that, if the people from diverse backgrounds can't get to the decision-making roles and be the decision makers themselves, then the status quo is going to maintain as it is for a long while. And the workforces are not going to be sort of as diverse as we want them to be, because we need diversity at the top, not just at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I feel there's more pressure building to see diversity throughout the whole pyramid of roles now. I think we started with the bottom, and then people was like, hang on, I clocked on, that's not going to just solve it by itself and wait for people to move up. We still need to make sure that people are moving up, and to do that, you need people in senior roles to open those gates. So I do see that people are recognizing that, and hopefully recognition will become action and some results.
So tell me, so you set up your agency, RA agency, in 2010, I believe.
Yeah.
You were sharing, you just kind of got into the driving force behind setting it up. Share that with us now.
Yeah, well, just to follow on what I was talking about, was like, I just didn't want to set up an agency and just hire out women working at assistant and trainee level, and then that be it. I found some really talented camera operators, and I really wanted to see them excel as well as their peers, but that did take dedicated focus on those particular people to get them breaks, basically calling around the people who would hire and ask them, to hire them on the next project.
And how did you encourage these women to come on board with you? And what kind of reception did you receive from those phone calls or contacts you made?
Okay, so for the agency has moved from different business models. It did start in 2010, but I was still working freelance and only 2 years in industry myself, so I kept it bubbling away in the background. But eventually in 2015, I had a database of 150 people. And it was when I then, in about 2017, I decided to set up shift it forward and pick out a dozen women that I feel have good relationships with and represent them exclusively.
So which departments, across which departments?
So it's camera, sound and lighting. So the women that are on my books, some of them I've known for nearly 10 years. So that's how they've come about. And then in that time, they've actually moved up as well, obviously. So it wasn't an overnight enterprise. It did take a lot of time to explore, the barriers, and people to build, confidence in me, trust me that I'm genuine. And then in the last 2 or 3 years, it's really become its own, because diversity is being recognized where before it wasn't. So it was like talking to a brick wall most of the time, and people didn't understand why. But now I don't get asked that. We're looking at their credentials.
To hearing what you're doing and supporting you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I did those phone calls a year and a half ago or 2 years, it was warmly received, and still is today. Definitely, absolutely.
Well, that's really encouraging, and I'm really pleased to hear, that things are moving, progressively for you. Yeah. On the flip side of the coin, critics could say to you that what you're doing, you're as guilty of the same and are discriminating against men by only representing female professionals. What would your response be?
Well, this was asked a lot quite a few years ago. When I first started talking about it, people would absolutely ask this question. And I looked into, even the legality of it. And what I found is, my business is a social enterprise. You can start up a social enterprise that represents an underrepresented group, and women are definitely underrepresented. And then I felt that is all, you know, we need to know. At the end of the day, it's not a physical clubhouse. It's just a list of names on the website. And I don't employ anyone either. So yeah, it's just a database, and it's up to the employer who they want to employ. And it's up to them for them to do the interview processes fairly. I'm just presenting a choice, another resource.
And talking about the choice you're presenting, the women that you have on your database, are they from diverse backgrounds too?
Yeah, are you talking? You've been diverse, as in BAME, Black, Asian, minority. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. In sound, I do have 2 Black women in the sound department. And then I have been looking at my camera department and also just in the industry. And yeah, I couldn't find a female Black DOP, you know, head of camera. So I decided to set up the Futures program and to find some Black women working already as a camera trainee or an assistant and have the ambition to travel through and be a cinematographer. And I wanted to make sure they get there.
Could you share and expand on the Futures program a bit more, please?
Yeah, the Futures program is aimed at Black women working in camera, in film and TV, in drama-led projects. So amazing, talented Black women who I have 4 who are just had a great start already in trainees level and second AC. And I am there. It's free. They get their CV online, a profile online with the others, and I mentor them, and then I'll introduce them to the other members so that they can advise them. And of course, I distribute their CV and try to get some opportunities for them. And then when I find a job opportunity, I hand it over to them. I don't represent them as an agent, and I don't take any commission. It's to give them visibility, but also to build a support relationship right through to when they will maybe ready, if they want to sign with me as a DOP, and what, you know, take it from there. I just wanted to make sure there's so few, we don't lose any on the way.
And for those who might be tuning in today, young women who are interested working in the technical side of TV and film, and they're perhaps at entry level, what criteria would they need to possess in order to make an application for your Futures program?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm not looking for any more applicants, but over the years, I'm sure it will evolve, and hopefully want to grow it, or at least have a waiting list, or be able to keep a CV online or on standby to hand. That's always useful. But with with the women that I have, they've all worked in camera hire equipment companies, and the trainees have had at least 1 trainee credit. So I would advise, if anyone's thinking in working in the camera department, to go and get a job at a camera equipment hire company, work there for a few years, get to know the equipment inside out, and through the hire company you will then go out with a kit, and that's when you start getting your first credits, and then you'll be ready to go freelance, and that's when I would like to hear from you.
No, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. And can you just share with us some of the projects that the women you represent are working on?
Yeah, well, Svetlana, who is my Steadicam and Trinity B camera operator.
What's her full name?
Svetlana Miko. Mm-hmm. And she operates a Trinity, which is a very advanced rig, like Steadicam, but it's the latest technology. And she's been on shows like Britannia for Sky. She's been doing dailies on the Batman movie, the new Batman movie with Greg Fraser, the DOP. And we have lots of now we've got lots of interviews for projects.
Are recruiters proactively coming to you to recruit female technical professionals?
Yes, I would say it's 50-50. I would definitely say it would be unwise to be complacent and sit back and wait for the phone to ring. There's always someone new out there who haven't heard about us or just got busy. You know, sometimes they can just be overloaded with emails and CVs, and when a job comes through, they go to their just automatic habit. So I do still need to keep gently and friendly in an appropriate manner, you know, reaching out to people and just keeping people updated as well in how my crew are developing and, you know, working with more projects and getting more experience and building their credits, you know, so people like to be updated. And I think, yeah, I would say it's more 50-50, you know, being proactive. But I definitely see production coming to us. It does, sometimes it feels like they're just after some CVs to put forward, so it feels like they've done something. And that's what I need to like push for, and kind of like, is it going to go to an interview, or are you going to check out their references, or who's a DOP, you know, to make sure that it's just not a tick boxing exercise. So I do try to filter out, you know, genuine, you know, inquiries, really,
to make sure they're authentic about coming forward.
I mean, there's lots of like, there's pressure production to meet quotas or to do certain processes, and to be honest, sometimes I think they just call up to just to put some CVs, you know, forwards. I think we need to, you know, to question, you know, I just question why they're interested in that particular person.
Yeah,
you know, got to make sure, you know, it's not just, the job is the right job for the right person as well, the right company.
that's great. And Lulu, I just want to get your thoughts finally on this is great that you took the initiative and set up this agency to represent female professional crew members across cameras and lighting and sound. Do you think more women in the industry, more professionals and more professionals with diverse heritage should take the initiative like you and set up something like you, a recruitment agency, just to address the deficit? Now, it's a positive thing that things are progressing widely in the industry, but it's still at the early stages. It's not there, and a lot of people want to get on with their careers. So do you think that would be a way forward to address the deficit?
Absolutely. The more networking, the more databases, the list, resources, awareness, visibility, you know, Instagram accounts, specifically, there's something called Sporas, which is for Black BAME people working in cinematography, and they're expanding their database to include other production jobs. So Sporas, Sporas, is one to look out for and get listed on.
Yeah, don't worry.
There's actually, sorry.
I'll list everything with every agency or organization you've mentioned. I'll list it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I will send a list of other diversity aimed networks and database and lists. There are more and more there. So
no, that would be great, and then I can distribute that across all my social media platforms, share it with everyone, whoever might be interested. That's very kind of you. Lulu, it's been absolute joy talking to you. It's been really interesting to hear about you, you know, why you set up the agency and how you're progressing, and I wish you all the best with it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye. It's your turn. I want to hear from you. How are you getting on in getting a foot into the door of this industry? And also, what are your experiences in terms of inclusion and representation? You know, whether you're at the entry level or whether you're a seasoned professional, I'd really like to hear your stories. Also, I invite you to continue this conversation in the comment section below. Do leave your thoughts, your opinions on anything Lulu and I have discussed today, or your thoughts in general about diversity in media across TV, radio, and film. Also, to keep up to date with all the interviews in my series, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, it's been great having your company. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, next week, I'll have another great guest I'll be interviewing. See you then.